I'm going to call this gentleman in the gray suit forward to speak to you. His hearing is a little bit affected, so I wish you could hear what I have to say, but his name is Robert F. Schaefer, and he was born and raised in this country of Luxembourg. Luxembourg is a little bitty country in between Germany and France. Belgium. And on the way to, he can't hear better than this. Been making me think he can't hear. I think it's just to get me up there so he can put this pin in my lapel. I had my son's American Revolution pin in there, and now he gave me the Luxembourg American flag. Mr. Schaefer has a title of Consul General. That kind of means important guy representing his people of Luxembourg. So he came to Missouri City to help organize this gift, to give us this library in honor of his country being saved. And as I said, as a young man, he would have been in the German army if the Americans hadn't come in and liberated. So he's responsible for this gift, and he's the one that comes every since 1995 to talk about that gift and about how much he appreciates the American military and what they've done for his country. Not everyone in the world appreciates the American military, as you know, but they do in Luxembourg. So, Mr. Schaefer, if you would like to say a few words, I would appreciate it. Please. Please.
We just sort of have to forgive him. He's just been married, you know. Barbara is going to have overtime, right? Next year he'll be better. I don't know what to tell you. Here we are after all these years where we have had war, and then some more war, and then some more war, and many men dying, many children dying, many families dying. And when you sit down in the evening sometime and you don't have anything to do, and you still have a brain that works, then you don't really find any answers to those questions. I mean, I understand that Adam and his brother, the guy who killed the other guy.
Cain and Abel? Cain and Abel?
There you are. That was the first act of killing one another, and we still haven't gotten over that. Here we go, and we have, there isn't a continent where we don't have killing, where we have just all kinds of reasons for it. And I cannot understand any one of the reasons for this. I'm going to go back to my age. I'm 81 years old now, just by 2 days, so it's just 80 plus. The first thing that happened to me was on May the 10th in 1940. I was going to school in the morning, and as I was going towards the square that led me up the hill to the school, I saw a bunch of people with long gowns and rifles that are like that high, and all kinds of colors. And the policeman came up to me. He said, "You got to go home." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, we have a war." I said, "What are these people doing?" He said, those are Moroccan soldiers. Now imagine, here we are, I don't know very much about anything like that. We had seen pictures of German army, and we've seen these guys from Morocco, and even for a 9.5-year-old, you got to say, you know, they're not going to go very far. Their slippers, they had slippers on, and they had a little, what do you call that? A little
Curl. Curl, maybe?
Yeah. If they had to walk up the steps in front of my house, they would have lost them all once. Anyhow, we were only exposed to the war, so to speak, by 2 days. By that time, the Germans had gone way over the Maginot Line and on the way to Paris. So there were 40 days of war, and those 40 days lasted over 4.5 years. 4.5 years of war, of bombarding, putting trying to get through the Maginot Line and stuff like that. But the Germans lost the war, the second one in 40 years. And you would think that people would understand those kind of things. But apparently they didn't. The 1914-1918 war, they went way down the bottom and had a bad peace treaty, and here they go doing the same thing. Now, when you look at this, and you sit at this place here, and none of us were in that war, I believe. Who was in that 14, 18, 20, 40, 48, 45 war? Some of you were in that war, yes. Yes.
Mr. Prather and
Yeah.
Mr. Hunter.
Yeah. So here we are in a new kind of war. We're not going ahead and putting gas caps on and having small bayonets and stuff like this, or send one run of light people forward, and when they're dead, they take the next one in, and when they're dead, next one in. I remember that after a day's work, I put work in parentheses, after like 6,000 men died, the general came up to the office and said, "Hey, we're losing here." I'm not telling you which one it was, whether it was German or French or whatever. And the general said, well, what do you need? He said, "I need 10,000 more men." He said, "Okay." Now you've got to have some sort of mental thinking when all of a sudden you kill 10,000 people. Just think about it. And then we get this war over with, and we get the next war, and we get the next war, and we get more people killed. And then they come, that's now in the field where the armies kill each other. Then you get air raids. There's one city that was hit in one night with 8,000 flights killing a city and burning it down, killing 20,000 men, mostly women and children. Now, what did they have to do with the war? These are kind of things that a soldier would understand. I would, for some reason or other, I always felt that people learn from things like this. But I just was wrong about this. It seems to be going on and on. And we know a little bit about the reasons why they go on and on. Some are political, some are economical, and on most of those we have no control over. We're just going to have to do what's going to be done. I would hope that when I come here and I see these, and I call you heroes, I don't do it very gently necessarily, but you are. And maybe we should cool down a little bit. Maybe we should take more power against the people who do some of the things that we feel are not necessary. I don't know. I'm not even an American citizen. I'm Luxembourger. I was in the army, and I came out as the worst army guy that my army ever had. I was very proud of that. So maybe we can learn. Maybe we can't. And in many cases, maybe we won't. I can't do anything about it, but it hurts tremendously, and I think you gentlemen will understand. I take my head off of you. Just thank you.
It almost sounded kind of like an anti-war speech, didn't it? Some people say some of the folks who are the most anti-war are generals and admirals. They prepare so that we won't have them. And the better prepared we are, the less likely that we'll have another war. So, God bless you all who have served and who have prepared and pass that legacy on to our children. And there's our strength, and this library and this flag and this memory then is perhaps enough to help us stay in a state of preparedness.